And welcome to another episode of Hashtag The Road. We're here in Nassau, Bahamas, and we're going to take a look at these French cloisters they're from the 14th century, the 1300s, and they're here on Paradise Island in Nassau. How did they get here? Well, let's go talk. My name is Milo Beasley. With 20 plus years in the professional wrestling industry, combined with my love for traveling, I've seen some pretty cool things over the years. Now I bring you along in these travels, as I never know where I'll end up or what I'll see or do along the way. With more than 4 million miles of roadways in the United States alone, we have a lot of ground to cover. So join me, if you will, on Hashtag The Road. But before we get to the cloisters, I know you're asking yourself, Milo, why are you in the Bahamas? What's up with these 14th century French cloisters, and why do you care? Well, the answer is the Beatles. Well, first thing we got to do is make it there alive. So hopefully this taxi can... Whoa! So we are outside these French cloisters here in Nassau. An amazing history here. So why don't we go up? See the sign right there, it says no trespassing. He's making sure that we're not trespassing, but we're gonna go check out these cloisters and talk about them, talk about the history. There's a lot of history here, including the Beatles. I actually visited this area a few years ago. It wasn't private property then, or if it wasn't guarded by a dude watching over your every move. Actually, he was very cool about this and let me walk around, but as long as he was like in my shadow, essentially making sure I wasn't out here destroying the architecture. So anyway, these cloisters were part of a 14th century Augustinian monastery, which was then dismantled and imported to Europe by William Randolph Hearst. Yes, that William Randolph Hearst, the famous publisher. He planned on bringing these pieces to California to be a part of his Hearst Castle. However, being that he bought these in the 1920s, a little thing called the Great Depression happened, and that never materialized, so these pieces remained in storage. So how did they get here? Well, let's backtrack a little bit. So Paradise Island was purchased in 1939 by a man named Axel Wennergren. During a yachting trip around the Caribbean, he saw the island and was like, I have to have this. So he ended up purchasing the island and was looking to spruce up his... Is he still there? Yeah, he's still there. His newly acquired real estate, which he actually called Shangri-La. But then in 1960, the island fell into the ownership of a man called Huntington Hartford. Apparently, it's a key point in the story that you have to have a badass name. And speaking of names, the name of the island when Hartford acquired the land was called Hog Island. And he was like, no, bro. It's called Paradise Island from here on out. So in 1961, Huntington Hartford acquired the piece of these cloisters and fashioned them right here as the crown jewel of his 35-acre estate. How is this tied to the Beatles? Well, look right here. This is where the Beatles filmed the music video for their song Another Girl, which was created for the movie Help. So like right here, that's right, right here, the movie Help was filmed in Nassau in 1965. So following their 1964 hit, A Hard Day's Night, the studio wanted them to follow it up with another live action movie featuring their songs. And there's a few reasons out there why they picked the Bahamas. One theory is that their manager, Brian Epstein, no relation, wanted to film in the Bahamas for tax reasons. Another theory is that the Beatles were so tired from their previous movie and their tour dates that they only agreed to do the movie if they could film it in the Bahamas, basically as a vacation. So here we are. So other songs from Help are A Ticket to Ride, From Me to You, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, and of course, Help itself. Now, in the center, this marble figure is a statue called Silence by Scottish sculptor William Reed Dick. And these names are killing me. So just about a half mile down from the Atlantis Resort, you yourself could find a piece of not only well, European history, American history, Bohemian history, but Beatles history as well. And as the cloisters are property of the Ocean Club. The Ocean Club, also formerly known as the One and Only Club, also where we see a couple James Bond films, including Thunderball and Casino Royale. That is also private property, so we will not be going to there. All right, so that may not have gone as planned, but hey, we found a Dunkin'. Got a little refresher tea action going on. So hope you enjoyed the little abbreviated cloister tour. Hopefully you learned something. And yeah, gonna go check out the rest of well, what we can get into here on Nassau Island. All right, thanks for watching. Do the subscribe thing, like right above the donuts, and I'll catch you later.